Christmas Eve in Michigan bit through my coat as I stood before the new glossy door on Maple Ridge Lane. My phone still warm from Grandpa Edward's call. "Lily, come now. I'm at your parents' place," he'd said, voice buoyant like a man hiding a wrapped secret behind his back. Edward Reed, legendary Chicago contractor, always mid-flight or mid-deal, rarely detoured to Michigan. His joy pulled me across the frozen streets. Warmth and rosemary greeted me when I pushed inside. A fire glowed. Prime rib crackled. Grandpa rose from the head of the table, eyes bright, cedar and leather cologne unspooling 100 gentler memories. He hugged me like I was the only gift worth opening. "Lily, do you like the house?" he asked, practically beaming at the fresh crown molding. "It's nice," I said, keeping my voice even. "But it's my parents' house, not mine." Silence fell like a sheet of ice. My father, Gregory, went chalk pale, the stem of his wine glass ticking against his knuckle. Susan's lipstick smile stayed pinned, but her eyes flashed the way steel does, catching light. On the wall, a brand new gallery of family photos. Gregory, Susan, my half-brother Brandon, grinning under stadium lights, and me at the edge of every frame, a prop tugged in at the last second. "Your parents' house," Grandpa repeated, brightness gone, voice turning winter cold. "Explain." I glanced at Gregory, waiting for words that weren't evasions. He studied the fireplace stones like they might save him. Susan leaned forward first. "Edward, there's a misunderstanding. We're one family." Grandpa didn't look at her. He watched me. He'd always had a way of making the room fall away until only truth remained. And truth, I'd learned, rarely arrived gently. "All right," I said, pulling out the chair he'd saved for me. "If you want the truth, you'll get it the start to finish." I grew up in that small Michigan town where everyone waved, and I learned early how love could be rationed. My mother, Dana, died the week I was born. Gregory wore grief-like armor. When he married Susan, the house rearranged itself around Brandon. New bikes, trophies, the best room. For me, attic bedroom, sloped ceiling, thrift store coat. "Be grateful," Susan would say. I worked after school, stocked shelves, saved every dime for community college. When I asked about tuition help, Gregory said there wasn't enough. Brandon had potential. I didn't argue. I learned the hum of fluorescent lights and the click of a register that opened for everyone but me. Then the invitations began. Holidays, anniversaries, texts with punctuality baked in. Each time I brought small gifts that stayed wrapped while Susan performed gratitude for the neighbors. And the photos. Always the photos. "Lily, scoot in," she'd say, placing me at the frame's edge. I thought they were trying. Turns out they were curating for someone else. This Christmas, someone stood in their living room backlit by garland. Grandpa's eyes sharpened when I told him I didn't live here. "Gregory," he said, voice low. 2 years ago, I wired you $400,000 to purchase a 3-bedroom for Lily. I specified the deed. Where is it?" Gregory swallowed. Susan reached for a script and found none. The gallery photos watched us like a chorus of lies. "It's in our names," Gregory said finally. "We believed it would serve the family." "It was never yours to keep," Grandpa answered. He turned to me. "Pack a bag. You're coming to Chicago. We'll fix this, and you'll start fresh." I took his hand. "Yes." Grandpa didn't wait for dessert. He walked me out into the Christmas cold, his hand steady on my shoulder. At the hotel, he spoke plain. He'd been sending money for years, tuition, clothes, everything, trusting Gregory to pass it on. The house was the final check. My breath hitched. My entire history rearranged itself in one sentence. "Let me handle the legal side," he said. "But we do exactly what you want." "I don't want a courtroom," I told him. "I want a clean start." We flew to Chicago at dawn. Winter sun stitched a new horizon outside O'Hare. At his home, a gracious Gold Coast brownstone smelling of lemon polish and pine. He showed me a bedroom with a view of the lake, a desk already waiting, and with them, a future that didn't apologize. I slept like someone finally allowed to. Paperwork moved quietly. The deed was corrected. Then the house sold. I enrolled in civil engineering at UIC, worked days at his firm learning rebar schedules and change orders. Work made sense. A letter came from Gregory in March, remorse in cramped handwriting. He wrote that Susan and Brandon had moved out, that he was trying to be decent. I answered once, "Be decent." That was the forgiveness I could offer without reopening the wound. Months later, Brandon stopped me on Michigan Avenue, thinner, unsure. "Help me," he said. "You can do hard things," I answered. "Start there." 2 winters later, I flew back to Michigan for one evening. I stood on the curb outside that house, no longer mine, no longer theirs, and felt nothing tug. On the flight home, the lake glittered below, like scattered coins. I touched the window and believed it. I was home, and I was whole.